So, that's been a bit of a pet peeve as a food scientist for me, only because having a high or a low metabolism is not like having red hair versus a blonde hair, or being a tall person versus a short person. It's not something that genetically you just are predispositioned to be in that position, okay? So we got to clear that up right away. Let's just stop saying the word, because when have you ever heard your doctor, see online, matter of fact, Google it, see if you can find it. How do I measure my metabolism? How high it is? Am I a 5 or am I a 1? Am I a 35? How high does the number go? There's no such thing, because the truth is we don't know how to measure it. Secondly, it's not convenient. Now, there are some ways that we can come back through some other studies, blood studies, and determine and say, okay, this is what you're really meaning by metabolism, right? But it's so cumbersome and it takes so much time and it costs money that it's not something that you and I can use at home as a practical guide. So let's just get rid of the word and replace it with metabolic flexibility. Oh, now we're getting into some great stuff here, because the end goal of me for you through our foods and our diet program, everything we do is so that you can be metabolically flexible. If you are metabolic flexible, let me tell you, you might as well get a cape, put it on your back, because you're right next to being a superhero. What that means is that you could go on, and you've heard of stories, you may even have experienced this. You go on a vacation, you eat like a horse, right? You enjoy it. You're in a country, you're in a climate where you wanted to try the culture and the food and just the experience and enjoy yourself. You come back, you're 10 pounds heavier, and inside a week you're back to normal weight. It's not because you went and ran a marathon. It wasn't because you starved yourself for days. It was because you're metabolically flexible. When we were created as human beings, this species, and we're roaming the deserts, we're roaming the forest, we're roaming the mountains, wherever we were at, it was absolutely imperative that we had metabolic flexibility, or we would not survive as a species. That means going for days, even weeks, without any food. You want to be flexible. You want to be able to have enough energy so that when you go without food, you have enough energy to run away from the lion that's chasing you, or the dinner you're trying to catch. That's absolutely important, and our bodies were made that way. As long as you don't retard that energy exchange from what's stored in your body to be able to be used. Too many of us eat these high carb diets and we get stuck. Your body never gets the opportunity to go back into the fat storage, take that fat molecule, break it down and say, you know what? I need some energy, so I'm going to use my storage. That's why our body stores fat. So fat is not a bad thing. It's absolutely essential. Too much fat, or where the fat is at, like visceral fat, fat around your organs. The fat on our bums and our arms and our legs might hurt our ego, but it doesn't come anywhere near the damage and threat that fat around our organs, or should I say too much fat, causes our heart and our liver and our pancreas, all those things. So that's why flexibility is essential. Let me give you an example. I went through some research. I did a water fast. All that means is I took all my electrolytes, okay, and water. That's all I consumed for 24 days. I did not lay in a corner in a fetal position, sucking my thumb because I had no energy. I was working out, I went to work, I lived my life, and I was fine. I had worked out just as hard as I normally do, and I was able to survive and thrive, and I was just fine. I didn't do it because I was morbidly obese. I was the same weight I am now. I did lose some weight, but the test was really how metabolically flexible was I, and what does that feel like? What can I still be able to do? And I promise you, you follow our protocol, and you will be able to enjoy those kind of benefits, so that when you're without food, you can still go out and you can run, you can lift, you can do your job, you can do your play, and not have to rely on one energy source, which is glucose. You want to be able to burn protein, you want to be able to burn glucose, you want to be able to burn ketones, you want to be able to burn stored fats. Those are the way that we were created to be able to get energy from. And yet, if we never practice those physical situations, your body will kind of forget how to do them. So let's go back to school. Let's crack those books back open, and we'll teach you how to be able to enjoy all the benefits from metabolic flexibility, which is a lot more useful and valuable than being high or low metabolism. You'll love it. Oh, great question. Because the reality is that our culture and a lot of our joy that we have in life is involved, if not surrounding food. And that's not a bad thing unless it is what we live for, unless we change our entire lifestyle around getting the foods that, let's face it, are not necessarily healthy. So can you have grandma's lasagna? Absolutely. In fact, our motto is, I want you to be able to eat anything you want to eat. The only thing I'm going to set you up for is get you the body so that you can handle eating anything you want. Here's the catch. You can't eat anything you want to every day without limits. You got to have a limit. You can't sit down and eat a gallon of ice cream and then assume that you're going to have metabolic flexibility or a healthy weight or good muscle mass, right? It has to be reasonable. It's just that as you go through the protocol, your appetite will change. I promise you won't want the same foods that you used to want. And your favorite foods, like, well, grandma's lasagna, you can still eat it. You just won't want 3 helpings. 1 will be ample.